Hello my friends, welcome to another episode of Diablo 4. My name is Wilfred. So I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, also revisited the Diablo 4 Midwinter Blight event, and I come to realization that if cosmetic reward is the only reason why I want to keep playing the game, then it is not a really good idea to continue playing the game. Example like Warcraft, at first when I thought about the trading post, I thought it was really good. Every month there are free cosmetic reward, be it a mount or a set item that look really nice. But then having to go through the same chore like work, and after a while I just couldn't do it anymore. So like Diablo 4, when I revisited the event, I found that it is the same old region that I just mindlessly go around taking down some elite, maybe spawn the boss and take down the boss, and there are 3 different type of currency that convert into one single currency anyway, and the overall just not that enticing. In fact, I tried to play, but I couldn't quite bring myself to even collect 50 tokens to exchange for one backpack item. So that speaks quite a fair bit. So maybe I would like to do some reflection here after playing for this game for I would say no less than 300 hours. So I've done a druid for season 1, took her all the way to the end game, got all the season objective completed. Back then it was quite easy. Necromancer for season 2, it was kind of intense. They've upped the difficulties a little bit, but still, I mean, get to complete the season objective. In both cases, I've got the battle pass completed as well. Previously, I've also done a non-season character just to get to experience the game. So now there are a couple of reasons why I don't think I will come back to this game in near term, and just to share with you. And me, I've loved action role-playing games. It's not easy for someone like myself to not play a game. I like all sort of aRPG, even some of these aRPG that you may not heard of or play much. I would still like to play it. So the first thing first is that the loot hunting in Diablo 4 is really like a chore. It becomes so painful that even when I revisited the event and the Midwinter Blight event, as I took my Necromancer around, I picked up some of these rare items as well as the legendary. For the couple of rounds, I tried to find out if I could get some upgrade against my current set of gear, but after a while I just couldn't be bothered anymore. I just leave all the loot on the ground, and it's kind of a big red flag if you play an aRPG when you're not even interested in the loot itself. And mind you, my character is not that strong that I don't need the loot. It just speak about the kind of like thing that, okay, that's done, enough is enough, right? So that I'm not going to subject myself to that kind of like looking through a pile of trash just to try to find that one gem within that you could change one of the enchant and hope that you'll get the 4 enchants that you want within the range that you need and the item level that you need as well. That just not it's not worthwhile anymore. And especially at the back of playing Grim Dawn, I just found that the Diablo 4 is really, really shallow. So I'll get to that in just a bit. And the second point is that I really dislike the Nightmare Dungeon. I've tried a lot, and give it to them. Season 2, they try to change the way that there's not too many dead ends in the Nightmare Dungeon. I just don't like it. I just don't like the fact that there is a lot of mechanism that slow you down. I'll get there in a bit about the whole toll gate against your progress. Nightmare Dungeon is not that fun. It's just multiple stages. A lot of time, I don't find it fun at all. I find it quite a chore, and the reward is not quite proportionate to the time spent on each of the dungeon. There's some dungeon are tier S, some are dungeon are tier, tier A or B or C or D. So it's I just don't overall like the whole Nightmare Dungeon and the grinding of the Glyph, because in order to level up the glaive, you need to do Nightmare Dungeon. The whole sigil is a pain. You have to find the right sigil, you have to disenchant them and try to craft a sigil level that you want, and it's always a range, so it's not quite what you want in the end. And I think D4 team overcomplicate or try to add depth to a game that is very shallow. In D3 it's very straightforward. You need GR 90, put in 90, go ahead, play it. You want GR 100, provided that you have already attained that sort of level. Yeah, you can just pick a level tier and just do it. But in D4, they've added a lot of this sort of mechanism that's very shallow, but it's kind of tedious for you to even try to do a Nightmare Dungeon level that you want, or type of dungeon that you want, with the kind of crafting and the range of it, and half of it is not what you want because the level is too low or too high, etc. And there's a limited inventory space as well, try to swap things around, and there's so much time spent on that. The toge, I'll talk a little bit about that later, kind of ahead of myself. I don't like the MMO aspect of the game. It gets old really fast, with all the timer that prompt you to do things like the Hell Tide, like the Legion, like the World Boss, even the Blood Harvest for the latest season 2. I found that it gets old very, very fast. Like Legion, after a while, it's the same thing, right? Especially if you have some player that are pretty strong, it's just going through the path with zero skill or zero challenge whatsoever. You just spend time waiting for it to spawn, and then complete the event and get the reward and get out. So there's no fun in it. It's just doing it through like a job. Same as World Boss as well. Time for it to wait for a World Boss to spawn, travel with your mount, although season 2 is faster, wait there, and the boss is down in a couple of seconds, maybe even like 1 sub-second, if you have a strong character there in the group, and it's done. You spend time waiting and more time waiting than playing the game, and it's just not right. So that's the point I'm trying to say. The whole MMO aspect, especially after I've played Green Dawn lately, I really appreciate that kind of solo gameplay. Of course, I could play multiplayer for Green Dawn as well, but I just don't. I just sometimes want to be alone, do my own thing. But this game doesn't kind of like, it's more like an MMO game in my opinion, or they try to be. I touched on to this point. The game has no depth. The itemization is it's a lot of attribute, but it doesn't really change the way or facilitate the way that you build your character, or even have the flexibility to pick up something that maybe they're a little bit different as well. There are many games that does it in different way. If you look at Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr, the game that I play a lot of time, the loot are a lot more interesting. You may pick up something that you say, okay, I could change some of this attribute to be the one I want, fixes the one I want. And if there's a gap in my build, I could fill it in with some other things. I can use some doctrine or whatever to make it strong. Pretty flexible thing that I could craft the item into a really good item. Chronic Coin is another example. You can craft your perfect item that is specific to your build, but you can change it around. There's the penalty of changing is just to play a little bit more, get more material. You can change the affix. You say that, okay, this cooldown reduction is not working out, maybe change it to something else. It's easy, it's quick. If you look at like Grim Dawn as well, the whole bunch of attribute, maybe some kind of like skill that's being granted, additional skills being granted to your gear that change the way that your build works slightly, but still it changes it. But there's a lot of depth to it, crafting as well. But for Diablo 4, the itemization is nothing but you will have in mind each of the item. You have 6 attributes that you want. These are 6 that you're hunting for. Be it as maybe overpower for some build, cooldown reduction for other builds. Maybe some items is a health, percentage armor. Once you have that mapped out, all you are doing is just scanning through each and every item to find 3 affixes that matches with any of the 6 that you have, you know. And the 4th one, you can try to roll it to the remaining 3 that you're trying to hunt for, and that become your BIS, provided that you've got the right item level. But that's not depth. That is really not depth. That is very simple mathematics or simple setup that I find it very, very shallow, I would say. And I touched onto this point. There are just way too many time-wasting toll gates. You have to, like I mentioned before, for the Winter Blight event, you have to collect different type. There are 3 types of currency that will convert to one single currency that would exchange for something, and you have to level up your whatever thing that you're trying to level up. But what's the point? I mean, things could have been a lot easier, just like blood harvest level, just automatically gain the progress. Just be it. Why require multiple currencies when it is one single currency that you are going to convert anyway? It's not like you could make some strategic kind of decision, like maybe I don't convert currency A, B, and C into that single currency. Maybe there's some way to do something. I don't know. It's just very simple. I don't feel intellectually challenged at all playing this game. And like for example, season 2, in order to spawn the tier 2 bosses, you have to farm the tier 1 bosses, which you already farm to your death, like, you know, boredom, that you have nothing more you want to get from the boss maybe, and you just keep farming it for the material that you need to craft in order to farm for the tier 2 bosses. And all these are, in my opinion, including the sigil and everything else, just time wasting. It kind of prohibits you to play the game, to enjoy the game and have fun with it, but rather you have to do all this A, B, C, and D, which is not challenging at all, to lead to something more fun. So I don't know. I think because this game is so lack of fun and content, that they have to just put a toll gate on everywhere to make sure that you don't get there too often. Because once you get it too often, the whole thing dried up, right? Because you get what you want. So what's next? There's nothing in this game to look forward to. And I found that the content difficulties is very difficult to pinpoint the problem here, because if you look at Diablo 3, you can't know that there's a progress, right? You can do different torment until the highest torment, and you feel okay, I'm pretty cool, and you can try out the Greater Rift and trying to go higher and higher and higher. In this game, Diablo 4, with my gear, and my gear is not that great. I feel unique. I pay attention to what kind of attribute that I want, and things are working out pretty okay. But I found that the content is either too easy or too hard, right? There are things like the blood harvest or the latest fracture peak farming for the currency to exchange for your backpack and what have you. Those things are super easy. Even Helltide, World Boss, whatever they're throwing at me, I'm fine. Those I can do it pretty well. It could yield some good loot as well, especially like World Boss, but it's not challenge. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there's something really hard that I can't even think about how to get there. Like for example, the Uber Lilith. I watch a lot of videos and it's just so many one-shot ability that no matter how tanky your character being built as, you get one shot if you miss certain things and the certain things hit you, and that's it, end of story. And of course the Arbiter of Azir, I read a lot about it as well. I think they changed it after they released the content, because many people just say that it's just way too hard. They try to get you into grinding for the Glyph in order to get to the harder content. But still, I think that the content difficulties is very varied. Some are too easy, some too hard. So if I want to try to play something harder, I can't get there. And the only way to get there is do something very easy for a very long time to farm for items. To do the hard content, I say, maybe I'm not that inclined to do that. Another point is that I have nothing really to look forward to once I get to the level cap of 100 and get all the Paragon points. There is, and the loot, of course, like I said before, is so tedious. So there's nothing to really play for anymore. I don't see any progress from there onwards, right? Of course, once you hit the level cap, it's need to farm for some of these like Uber bosses, Duriel and what have you. But once you've done that, then what next, right? Maybe just and mind you, my setup is not really that great either. So I found that the motivation is not quite there after hitting the certain point. There's really no point keep playing. It's kind of strange for aRPG. I don't even want to have the I don't even have the motivation to try out another build. No thank you. I'm not going to refarm all these like rare yellow items, nor even roll another class. What is the point? Contrast that to Green Dawn, right? I'm playing an Oppressor, which is a Necromancer and an Oathkeeper mixed multi-class. And I can tell you that even when I hit level 70 or 80, it's kind of like slow from there onwards. I think that game is even, it would take more commitment than say Diablo 4. In my mind, I already think about what class should I play next. What should I be mixing? Should I mix a soldier with a Nightblade or whatever it is? In my mind, I already thinking about what class to place. But for Diablo 4, after I'm done with Necromancer, I'm not going to bother with it until maybe next season. I'm going a new character. That's kind of like it's a wake up call for me, because that would mean that the game is no longer fun. I don't even look forward to logging in and play my level 100 cap character, nor do I want to even roll a new character. So yeah, I think this game is done for me. But I can understand a lot of people enjoy it, and I'm not here to put a wet blanket to you all who enjoy the game. If you enjoy the game, keep playing it. That's great, good news for you. But I'm just sharing my thought on the reflection I have. And the reason why I'm thinking that I'm done with this game is because there's so many other good things lining up as well. I would like to do more for Green Dawn. There's a lot of catch up to do because they have a new expansion coming next year, and I want to get my foundation correct. So I kind of like, okay, so these are what I'm familiar with, and I know the mechanism, and so that when a new mastery or new class come in, I can start thinking about, okay, what should I mix it with? Should I be a shaman plus the new class or what have you? So I'll be working towards that Green Dawn new expansion. Titan Quest 2 is coming up too. I'm not sure whether it's coming up anytime in 2024, but it's something that I've been keeping tab on and try to see if there are something good coming out from that game. It's the same developer with for Green Dawn as well, and Titan Quest has been around for more than 20 years, and they still update the game and create new expansion that speak a lot about their experience and passion about making good aRPG. Last Epoch is another game that is coming out from the early access in February next year, 2024. So it definitely is another game that I am very much to be investing my time with. I would definitely play it during launch. I'm not sure whether I'll dabble with it pre-launch or not, just to get some idea of how to master the game, but maybe I'll just do it there. Then last but not the least, of course, there's the Path of Exile 2. I play Path of Exile as well. I have a love and hate relationship with it. I love the game, while I also, there are aspects that I don't really like the trading part of it. But I think Path of Exile 2 could be quite interesting, and there's no harm taking a look at it as well. Like I said, I love aRPG, and it's almost like a crime if not playing one of the most successful franchise in the aRPG world. So yeah, it's a pretty long kind of like post here to share with you my reflection on Diablo 4. Now, will I be back? Yeah, certainly. I mean, look at how the Diablo 3 being turned around after a couple of years of after launch, and if they manage to make the game more fun, have more depth to it, more things to do, not just from a cosmetic point of view, and yeah, I'll be back. And and look, I mean, I also want to see what the price of the expansion be, right? Because I pay so much for the main game, and I feel a little bit kind of like, regretted that I two things I regretted. One is that I didn't know that this Diablo 4 would be released in Steam. If had I known, I probably would have waited the Steam release, just because I'm a more Steam person. And the second thing is that, of course, there's always a discount going on Steam and even in the Blizzard store as well. And right now it's at 40%. I say, whoa, 40%. I think I don't mind. I think this game doesn't worth this much money at full price. 40% maybe, So even after the expansion come out for Diablo 4 next year, 2024, I may just hold it off first, unless it is really fun to play. Maybe I wait for a discount, 50% or what have you. After all, I don't even know how much the price is. Rumor has it that it's going to be quite expensive, right? So I've already paid so much for the main game. Do I want to pay that much more for expansion? I'm not sure really. I'm utterly not sure. But the base game has to be good. So anyway, here are my thoughts, and thank you so very much for listening to me. And my thought as well, wondering if you could relate to it. If you could, let me know in the comment box below. I'm more than happy to engage in a constructive discussion. But like I said, if you enjoyed Diablo 4, by all means, go ahead with Season 3 and beyond, and I wish you all the best playing this game. So I'll talk to you again soon. Goodbye.